All right, so I've had a few people who have emailed me that they're having a little bit of difficulty with some of the multiplying, trying to figure out how to get the exponents and things to be able to type in correctly. So I thought I would go into here. I have an example of a student account just to try and show you kind of some of the ways to do these problems. So here is this showing us that we need to create a box. And so we can see we've got three in the first term and 2 in the second group. So I'm going to make a 3 by 2. It's weird that it doesn't show you the numbers, but there you can see we have our 3 by 2 box. So I'm going to use, since I made it 3 tall, I'm going to drag my 3 terms from the first into the box. Oops, I missed. I'm trying to do this with a mouse or with the mouse pad instead of an actual mouse. It's a little trickier. And then here, so I'm just dragging all these terms together. So now here's where some people were having a little bit of confusion, is trying to figure out how to type into here. And so to do that, we would multiply our first term. So -2 times the negative. So a negative times a negative makes a positive. 2 times, we're assuming a 1 here, would be 2. And then we have x, and we need to do an exponent. So you can either do, we call it shift, and then the number 6 would be one way to go through this. And the other way would be to, let me see here, is to use the, way up here at the top, there is a little calculator. And so you can see that's going to allow us to type in the exponent that we want to type in. So I have 2x to the, and I want to raise it to the third power because I'm increasing the exponent. So I'm going to use this a to the b, and that's just going to create this exponent for me. And now I can type in the number 3, or I could use the touchpad over here and typed it in. And so then here on my next square, I have -2 times 4 is going to give me a -8. And I'm going to have my x, or I could have used the x on here as well. And then I want to do squared. And so here's this a squared. It's just our x squared, kind of like our calculators have. And now, boom, there's my x squared. And then here I have my -6x times my x. So that's going to give me a positive. I'm going to write this as a plus. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I'm going to plus 6, and then it's x times x, which would make x squared. And so that way I can see my signs as well as my numbers and exponents and everything. Here I have my -6x times 4, which would make a -24x. So you can just type these in, like I said, on your keyboard, or you could use the buttons down here to type them in. 5 times -x would just make a -5x. And then here, lastly, 5 times 4, that's going to make a positive 20. And so then we're going to double check. Does everything look right? Great, everything looks good. So now we're going to simplify. And so then again, to type in on the keyboard, I can still use this keyboard that's shown here, 2x, and I'm going to use my AB. Actually, here, I'll show you. If I type in the x squared, that's not right. So I'm just going to use my back arrows. You could use them on the keyboard or on the key here. I'm going to use my back arrow to delete the 2 and change it to a 3. And then I'll use my arrow again to kind of scroll over. And now I have my -8x to the second power and my plus 6x. So -8 plus 6 would make a -2x. And then I'll use my square button again. And then I'm going to combine the rest of my like terms. So that'll be my -29x and my plus 20. And I'm going to submit my answer. Yes, I'm sure I want to submit it. And boom. Now I have this done, correct, everything's good to go. If I click on next problem here, I could keep going if I wanted to, but I can see here in the top where it says record, I have 3 out of 2 correct. So that means I've done everything that I need to do. I don't need to do it again because I've already achieved the goal of the problems, of the examples. So that's just one of the ways. I'm going to close this little thing down to do this. Another thing that we had here is our greatest common factor. I know some people were stuck on those problems as well. So what we're looking here when we're talking about greatest common factor is what number goes into both of them. What number could I use that would allow us to multiply these out? So I can see I've got 2 terms. I have 32 and I have -56x squared. So what I want to figure out is what goes into both 32 and 56. And if I think about this, 32 is 8 times 4, and 56 is 8 times 7. So they both have an 8 in common. and only the 56 has an x, so I'm not going to be able to take a number out. But I know that 8 times 4, that's what creates the box for 32. And then I know that 8 times a -7 would give me my -56, and then I just have to keep my x squared. So then if I want to type this in as my answer, I'm going to basically type it as if it was multiplication. So I have my 8, and if I want to use my little, so here you can see there's this little keyboard button. Same thing as what it is up at the top. I have my parentheses, and I'm going to type in 4 minus 7x squared, and I'll just click beyond it, and that would give me my answer, what I'm looking for, how. I'm going to select yes, and boom, there we go. There's my answer. Biggest number going into both terms is 8. That is what we call the greatest common factor. So basically, we're just trying to undo our multiplying or undo our distributive property for greatest common factors. And again, you could keep going. You could go to your next problem, or you could go back and work on some other kinds of problems here. So, and then I had already completed, and you can see here, this is something that was already done. Oh, I only got 50% on that. And that's because I turned it in late. Oopsie, my bad. So I probably should have a better score than that on my graphing problem, but that's because I was playing around with it and got it done late. So, alrighty, I hope that helps you guys out a bit and makes it a little more clear as to what it is you're supposed to be doing. Have a good day.